Well, Razorback fans, the Razorback football team had a pretty significant decommitment from a guy who put up a billboard wanting to come to Arkansas, Bear McWhorter. So why did he decommit? Well, let's talk about it in today's Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. I am your host, John Nabors. I'm also the host of the John Nabors Show, which you can catch every weekday afternoon at 6 p.m. on Natty State Sports and nattystatesports.com. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more because as playoffs winds down, sports stop sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Hope everybody's having a wonderful, wonderful Monday and start to the week as this is the final week of June and going in right into July. So again, amazing how quickly it's moving on, and we get closer to SEC Media Days, which I'll be down there in Dallas. So looking forward to having that and having some great content from down there as well. But I wanted to get into a few things specifically today where, it's always about news of being additions or subtractions to the teams. Football, basketball, baseball seems to be the ongoing trend. But one of the big, you can call it a surprise, you can call it a news story or whatever, was the fact that Arkansas had a decommitment from a 2026 offensive lineman. Now, for those of you who may not know, you probably hear that and you're like, well, who cares? Like it's 2026. It's, what does that mean? Like, why is that the case? Well, it's a little bit significant because it's Bear McWhorter. Now, if you haven't heard that name, Bear McWhorter was the offensive lineman that when he was in the 8th grade, I believe it's the 8th grade, and Sam Pittman became the head coach of Arkansas. He's from Georgia. He loves Sam Pittman. So much so that he wanted to play wherever he was going to be. No matter where he was going to be coaching, he wanted to be there. He wanted to be on board, and he wanted to play for Sam Pittman. And what he did was that he put up a billboard. That's right. He put up a billboard on I-49 back in 2021. And all it said had a picture of him and this little backdrop that he had. And then in the big letters of the Razorback font said, "Coach Pittman, I want to be a Hog." He was in 8th grade. He just wanted to play for Sam Pittman, wanted to be a Razorback. And so he put up that billboard. And then about a year or so ago, he committed to Arkansas. And you guys may not remember, but I actually had him on this very podcast when he was talking about coming to Arkansas, or when he actually committed to Arkansas and the excitement that he had. And it seemed like it was meant to be. He just loved Sam Pittman. He was a guy who was getting a lot of offers to a bunch of different places, got offers to Georgia, got offers to Bama. I mean, he's that type of offensive lineman that pretty much everybody wants. And he decided to, hey, I'm committing and no questions asked, no nothing about that. And what made it even crazier is that, he took visits, but this past football season, he and his family came on an official visit. I forget exactly which home game it was, but the reason I do know that is not only because I kept in contact with him, but he came by my tailgate, and him and his family, and talked to him for a little bit, and he was just excited wearing his Razorback gear and all of that. And then to really put it on to another interesting spin, him and his family came back for a Razorback baseball game, and I believe it was the spring game. I think it was both. The spring game to come in, and he hung out with Eric Mateos. I got to talk with him and his family once again. Tay Lockett was also there, the other kid from 2026 class. So, I mean, it just seemed like it was full steam ahead, full go, everything. And so to hear the news that a kid that had nothing but Sam Pittman on his mind, nothing but the Razorbacks on his mind, committed so early, kept coming for visits and everything, especially knowing the fact that he already had offers to big-time schools. So it wasn't like, oh, suddenly he became a big-time player and the offers were coming in. No, when he committed to Arkansas, he already had offers to Georgia and to Alabama and stuff like that. So to get the news that he decommitted from Arkansas was quite a surprise. And he did put out this message on social media. He says, decommitting is something that never even crossed my mind last August when I committed to the Razorbacks. Even now, my love for the Hogs and Coach Pitt hasn't changed. After lots of thought, prayer, and conversations with my family, I realize I only get to go through this process once in my life and have a long way to go before I put pen to paper. With that being said, I will be decommitting from Arkansas in order to take more time and rest assured I make the right decision for my future. Now, of course, because people are just mad at Sam Pittman and mad at the football program and thinks everything's terrible and everything sucks and all of that, people took this as just like, wow, our offensive line head coach couldn't even keep on a guy and a kid that just wanted to be a Razorback so bad that he put up a billboard about him. Like he couldn't even keep the kid that was a slam dunk easy get. So people took their shots or whatever. But here's the thing. I reached out to Bear and just kind of, told him, hey, man, hate to see you decommit, but totally understand. Let me know if I ever can do anything for you or anything like that. And, he was great. He's a very respectful kid. But here's the thing is like, I don't know exactly what went into his decision. Like, I don't know specifics. But I can kind of look at the things surrounding it and maybe connect the dots a little bit. So for one, as much as he loves Arkansas, folks, his whole thing is playing for Sam Pittman. Okay? If Sam Pittman was the head coach of any other SEC school, he probably would have still put up a billboard wanting to play for Sam Pittman at those respective schools, no matter where it's at. He would have wanted to do that. So it's not necessarily committing to an Arkansas thing. It's committing to a Sam Pittman thing. And let's be perfectly honest. There is no guarantees that by the time that Bear McWhorter makes it to campus at the University of Arkansas, that Sam Pittman is even the head coach still. Because we know how big of a year this is. But we're talking about a kid from the 2026 class. So not only has he got to play this football season, his junior year, then he has to play next football season, his senior year, and then he won't even make it onto campus until the fall of 2026. So you're talking about 2 whole football seasons before this guy would even get on the field for the Razorbacks. So there's a lot that can change there. I mean, so much that can change. And since he's all about Sam Pittman, maybe that's something that put in his perspective of like, well, I can only get to do this one time, but, I don't want to stay committed and not take any visits anywhere and not listen to anybody else because, what if Sam Pittman's not there? What if Coach Pittman decides to retire? What if he resigns? What if he's fired? That could play into the mix. But also, this is the thing I think is probably the more obvious one, or at least the more practical one. As you heard me mention, he doesn't play for a college. He doesn't play college ball until 2026. All right? You're talking about a kid that is still very much a kid. Like he just got done with his sophomore year. He just got his driver's license. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still got a lot of growing to do. He's an offensive lineman and he's a big old boy. I mean, I've seen him. He looks the part. No question about it. But he's still got a lot of time in front of him. And I'm thinking about not only the reasons that I said with Sam Pittman, but also if I'm that age and I got offers to a lot of other places and I start putting it all together, I'm like, why should I rush into this? Like, what's the panic? What's the rush? I think he was really excited to be a Razorback. I think he was really excited that he got that offer and that's all he wanted. So he, took it up on it. But then I'm sure as time goes on and he took the visits to Arkansas, and I still think that there's no reason to say that in his message he's not telling the truth. I still think Arkansas is 100% in the mix. I still think it's probably his favorite, probably the one that's in the leader board or top of the leaderboard for where he's wanting to go. But you got so much time, man. You got so many other things that could go on. You got visits you can take. You got development you can go through. You got, different coaches from different places, from different perspectives that you want to see in more of. I mean, there's just so many things that can change in 2 years. So, again, I don't want to see any player decommit from Arkansas, so don't misconstrue it. I don't want to see them bounce out. But I also don't think that Bear McWhorter decommitting from Arkansas, even though he will not play for Arkansas or for any college until the fall of 2026, is not the end of the world. Like, again, people that were just using this to trash Pittman or trash Arkansas football was just, they're never going to be happy. But if you're honestly, truly like freaking out about this, or at least thinking like, man, this is a bad look, this is bad, relax. It's truly not that bad. Like, a lot of people are trying to make a big deal out of this. It's not that bad. There's a lot worse going on, believe me. So who knows? Maybe he comes back. He could absolutely do it. And I think everybody would welcome him with open arms. But he's a good guy. He's a good kid. Comes from a good family. So I wish him nothing but the best of luck. And hopefully he figures it out. And again, he's got plenty of time to do it. Folks, you love sports. I love sports. In fact, I love them so much that I never want to see them stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games and the sports are sportsing like we all want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everybody daily, every single day, all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/lockedon and start making the most out of your summer. It's FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, moving on into the next segment of the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Razorback Baseball got another player added, this time from Rhode Island. So really going all over the place. They got from California, I guess from Hawaii, technically, even though I know Eloy's little brother went to BYU, but still going out that way in the West Coast, gone out into the, I guess in this case, the Northeast in Rhode Island. So just really going all over the place for baseball. But they have now 10 different players who have committed to transferring in. And the latest one is Michael Anderson. He's a two-way player from Rhode Island. And he announced in an Instagram post just last night that he's going to be attending Arkansas. So he swung for a batting average of .252 for the Rams during his sophomore year with 13 home runs and 41 RBIs while putting up an on-base percentage of .411. This is according to 24/7 Sports. He's from Pennsylvania, but he broke the NCAA Division I record with 12 RBIs against the Stonehill Skyhawks on March 20th, where he went 5 for 6 for the plate with 2 doubles, a triple, and 2 dingers. So, yeah, 12 RBIs is pretty good. In a single game, that's not bad. But he's currently playing for the Harwich Mariners in the Cape Cod Baseball League for the summer, where he has hit 4 home runs with 12 RBIs in 10 games while amassing a .385 average. So he's going to be heading to the SEC. In fact, he's in first 2 years at Rhode Island, he hit 23 home runs. So he was also the Atlantic 10 Player of the Week, Collegiate Baseball Freshman All-American back in 2023. Second team All-Atlantic 10, the Atlantic 10, All-Atlantic 10 rookie team, and also the Rookie of the Week a few times too. Then as sophomore, he was a team captain. He started in 45 of 47 games, cranked out 39 hits and scored 34 runs with 41 RBIs. And then he was second on the team with the 13 home runs. He set the single game record when he was hit by a pitch 4 times at George Washington. This guy's setting records in all the weirdest ways. So it seems like he's got a lot going for him on that front. But still, it's going to be interesting to see where he ends up playing and what he ends up doing as far as the position and where they find him and what he ends up going for and all of that. But either way, it comes down to this for Dave Van Horn. You know, he's still trying to add guys and add depth. And when, you know, you've lost some guys into the portal. Like I saw that Jason Jones is going to Oklahoma State. There's still some guys that are kind of in the mix. Because here's the thing. I had people ask me about this. Folks, Hagen Smith is not coming back. Peyton Stovall is not coming back. Those guys are gone. Like, just gone. Now, the only one that, I thought was gone in the beginning, but still apparently has a chance to come back would be Kendall Diggs. And Dave Van Horn's hoping that's the case because he's dealing with a surgery that he's going to go through. So you got him. Brady Tiger, I think, is another one that's kind of fascinating. He dealt with injury too. I think he'll be back, but, you never say never. I just saw that his family posted that he bought a house, so hopefully that means something that he's coming back. But there's still a few other players that are up in the air. We'll see. But the guys that are obviously ineligible because they ran out of eligibility will not be playing again. And then the guys that are obvious, like, again, Hagen Smith and Peyton Stovall are for sure gone. Like, those guys are done. They're moving on with their careers, and they're going to try to make it work in the big leagues. I think Hagen Smith's a first-round pick, honestly. I didn't even think Stovall's a top 3-round pick, to be perfectly honest. I mean, just given the circumstances of how good they are and where they've been and everything. So, but the point is that you're still going to be a team that's filled with talent. It's still going to be a team that's filled with guys that are coming from all over the place that you'll have to put in place and all of that. But I'll be curious to see what the pitching situation looks like and because I feel like Gabe Gackle again is going to be a starter next year for the weekend. Like, he might be the ace. Like, he's that good. But imagine if you had him and Brady Tygart, and then like if Hunter Dietz really comes around, like those 3 guys could be pretty salty and finding some consistency there. And then, guys like a Will McIntyre can still come back. I can't believe sometimes that he's an eligible player to come back, but he can. So like just stuff like that, man. It's amazing how like the eligibility and the COVID years and everything still. I just always assume everybody has an extra year, but normally they don't. So, but anyways, I'm gonna take a little bit to talk about something like not funny, but something crazy on the other side of the break. So stay with us here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast.
You are Locked On Razorbacks, your daily podcast on the Arkansas Razorbacks, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, so final segment here on the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. There was a few things that I wanted to bring up kind of here in the very end, but first off, I wanted to say another shout out to Heston Kjerstad. Hit a grand slam for the Orioles and gave him the lead there. So that was, again, great to see him continuing to be awesome and continuing to get it done. I also saw that the SEC network's kind of going all in on the Texas deal and Oklahoma deal, and they're doing like a Texas takeover thing. And they even changed the logo to the SEC network, and it really doesn't look that different. I mean, I guess it is a little bit cleaner, a little bit, and the SEC lettering instead of yellow, it's white, and the thing is bolder. I don't know. Like they've changed that, so I guess that's great and all. And also for the 6th time this season, of course, Hagen Smith was also named as another All-American to another outlet. So College Baseball Hall of Fame is the one that named. There's so many of those that it's almost hard to keep up with. But real quick though, before we close up, man, it's like, man, people really suck. I'll say that. And what I mean by that, and I don't do this very often. It's like going on like little personal diatribes here, but like my truck got keyed about 2.5 weeks ago outside of my home. And I live in Fayetteville. And in fact, I live in a pretty good area of Fayetteville. Like it's more in the downtown area or close to downtown at least. But, it's a nice little area. But it got keyed and it sucks because it's like it's a brand new truck and I worked really hard to kind of get to the point to where I could like afford something like that and afford something nice and get what I wanted. And it got keyed and I was like, well, I chalked it up to like maybe being like somebody being just like drunk or like maybe a homeless person or something, just randomly being there. But then the other night, other morning, I should say, yesterday morning, I woke up and I'd thrown out my back a little bit. In fact, my back's still not 100%. Kind of tweaked it a little bit during a workout. It's going to be fine. So I didn't get out much, but I like walk out to my truck and I see the driver's side of my truck and it's got an even worse keyed all the way down the side. And so much so they even put a big X on my gas tank lid, like a big X. And it's all just keyed and it's a black truck. So it shows up really bad. And it's just like, why? It would be one thing if it was just like that one time and somebody, but it's like, now if it's twice and kind of in the same, like, it's been in front of my home and it's happened, like, it's got to feel like it's a little bit more deliberate than that. And I just started getting so like angry, irrationally angry over it that, I just don't understand it. It's like, because it's like, what did people don't understand like what people go through to like when it's their own personal possessions and stuff, you know, like it's be one thing if it was a, you know, like just if people are like, if it's somebody that's deliberately like coming after me because they know me personally, one, I think it'd be weird that you know what truck I drive and where I live. It's creepy. But two, also like, could you not just tweet at me mean things instead? Like, I'd rather have that. Or, you know, just saying horrible things about my physical appearance or something like that. But to key a man's truck and to do it twice and to do it when it's brand new, that's just, man, people suck. So I'm filing a police report and everything. I mean, I doubt anything can be done. I may have to invest in some sort of cameras or something like that to have happen. And before everybody starts making jokes about it, no, it was not a pissed off ex-girlfriend or, you know, someone's like, oh, at least I didn't set it on fire like ran it out. I was like, no, it's not anything like that. And that's the kind of the thing is like, I don't even know what it would be or why anyone would want to do that. So anyways, just a friendly reminder that people suck no matter what. And hopefully I can find something to get it out because it's just like, geez, the hits just keep on coming. It's just keep on coming. So great. So great. Great year. Greatest year ever. Anyways, appreciate each of you listening in and watching into the Locked On Razorbacks podcast. Be sure to like and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or on Google Play. You can also get after me on Twitter at John Nabors Show for any questions, comments, concerns that you may have, and we'll keep it going from there. Same podcast time, same podcast channel. Tomorrow afternoon, have a great day, everybody. We'll see you.